Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for hopping in once again with us on another edition of the Jboy Show. Whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever, we just appreciate you joining us. Got another fantastic guest today lined up for you. Going to get to him in a second. But first, as usual, got to give a shout out to our partners at betonline.ag. Head over there right now. The online casino is always open. Got some great Major League Baseball bets going on there. They're going to put the sharps out. They're going to put them out early. They're going to gamble against you, not going to grind it down and try and catch you slipping, I guess you could say. So head over to betonline.ag today and tell them that Jboy sent you. But getting right into it, we got former star Auburn quarterback, NFL quarterback as well, did a heck of a job, had an unbelievable career. You can catch him now as an analyst on the Auburn Sports Radio team, and he's a podcast host on The Believe, still doing big things. Mr. Jason Campbell. J-Cam, what's up, man?
What's going on, Jake? Can't complain, man. It's a great day. You know, that's all I can say, man. That opportunity to get better, that opportunity to live a life.
Hey, no doubt, man. I appreciate you taking some time. And, you know, Jason, you obviously have a unique perspective, having played the quarterback position at a place like Auburn in the SEC, and you understand coaching changes and having to learn new systems better than anybody else as a guy that I believe had 4 different offensive coordinators in college, or at least 3. What was it like for you? You know, and because people say, oh, well, you know, it's all about the X's and O's, and the terminology can be different and the system can be different, but also the style of coaching. How did you navigate your way through that? Because you're a guy that ended up navigating it, and it culminated in an undefeated season in 2004.
Yeah, that's the thing, Jay. You know, you got to be able to adjust. I always tell kids nowadays, like, if you can't adjust and change, you get left behind. And, you know, we're forever changing, you know, even in our daily lives. And I just think when it comes to the football perspective, from a quarterback standpoint, you know, I had a different coordinator every year. And same thing in the NFL. You know, for 10 years I was in the NFL, I had at least 6. And so if it wasn't for me going through the changes I went through at Auburn, and having to adapt and change all the time, then that would have been prepared for what I went through in the NFL. And I was able to walk away from the NFL and not them give up on me. You know, I still had opportunities to play. I just kind of got worn down. But the thing about it, when you look at both perspective at Auburn, you know, this would be, you know, him going in with a new head coach and everything, Brian Harsin, and bringing in Mike Bobo. I just think, you know, the thing for him is he's got to be willing to adapt and be willing to soak up as much knowledge as possible.
I agree. And Jason, another question I got to ask you, because it's something that's been talked about, you know, with Mike Bobo coming in, with the offense changing, with what Brian Harsin has done, is going under center as a quarterback. If that's something that you haven't done, you're a guy that did both. Obviously, that's very prevalent in the NFL as well, going under center. How big of an adjustment was it to be able to go under center? Is that something you were used to? And if not, how long did that take? Because I hear the argument, you know, center snap exchange, getting used to that, stuff like that, which is stuff you can do in pre-practice. And now that we have a spring, but your eyes while you're dropping back, whether it be play action, whether it be, you know, looking at the combination, how different is that under center than in the gun?
Well, it's totally different. When you talk about under the center, I always tell guys, you know, that it takes a lot of practice. And we used to always 5-10 minutes before practice started, I always went out with the centers and did center quarterback exchange just to make sure that we had the timing down. And you had to do it not just only with your starting center, but you had to do it with your second center and your third center. So, you know, you always have to, because each guy snaps the ball totally different. And for me, I was always want the ball hitting a certain spot in my hand just because I could control the laces. I think, you know, it's not that big of an adjustment if you're a guy that's always in the shotgun. I think it's easier to go from shotgun and trying to learn it under the center, because shotgun just, you know, I think Bo's been doing this all his career. And so now what's different for him is getting under the center, and that's going to help him. And why? Because when you have a strong run game like we have with Tank Bisbee, and you're able to run the football, you're able to attack the point of defense, it makes those linebackers suck up faster because you're not in the gun, and sometimes they can see the play action a little bit faster. But when you're under the center, they got to read the keys of the lineman, and then everything's coming downhill at you so fast. It gives you a better opportunity on bootlegs and nakeds and get those tight ends, you know, behind those linebackers and hitting some of those seam balls and slants and different things. So being under center for the quarterback can be very pivotal for both, because if you're ever going to play at the next level, you got to be able to do both anyways. And we talk about that another day, but for him, the most important thing for any quarterback that's going from shotgun to center is the center exchange. You got to get that down first, but at the same time, don't go against it. I know in a new day and age where everybody likes to just be shotgun oriented, but guys, you got to get on the center sometime. And I think that brings it back to, like, to me, real hardcore football.
I agree. And like you said, being in the gun's a lot sexier, I guess, than being under center. But another thing about that, do you feel, Jason, that being under center, and you talked about how it can protect the quarterback, and slow down the defensive ends, it changes the launch point. Does it help maybe an offensive line a little bit as well because of that deception? You have defensive ends that may be a little more cognizant on the play action because they can't really see it because the guy's back's turned. Do you think it helps the tackles a little bit in pass pro?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. It definitely helps because you're an offensive tackle, left or the right tackle. You have set points. And what I mean by that is when you're in shotgun, they always say the quarterbacks use that 4.5 to 5 yards deep. And then if he was to take his drop, whether it's a 3-step drop or a 1-step drop, he's going to end up at 7.5, 8 yards. And some guys float all the way back to 9.5 yards. So when you're doing that, you're putting pressure on the tackles because they have to set the edge. And when you have edge rushers, they're taught to learn, okay, what's this quarterback's depth edge when he's in shotgun? So when you got film on you and they kind of know where your set points at, their job is to try to pin you out of your set points, make you get uncomfortable and have to move around a little bit more in the pocket than you usually would have to. And then when you're under the center, they can't do that because they don't know if you're doing a 3-step, they don't know if you're doing a slant, they don't know if you dropping back 7 yards or you're running nakeds or bootlegs or you're just running the football, period. So it makes them have to play their run keys a lot differently. And they also have to they can't just set their point of attack. They're just saying, I know exactly what set points he's going to get to. So that's what makes the difference between mixing up under the center and then shotgun. You're not as predictable.
Yeah, man, I think that's exactly right, Jason. I always say when you let a quarterback keep throwing from the spot he's comfortable with, it's like letting a good 3-point shooter shoot from the spot that he's the most comfortable with. He's obviously going to make a lot more of them. It's going to be a lot more fluid and tend to have better results. This is great stuff. We're here with former Auburn star quarterback Jason Campbell. Obviously saw him in the NFL, had a great career, like he said, and got to end it on his own terms, which not a lot of guys get to do, especially in that league. But there's something else too in this offense. And before I get there, Jason, I do got to ask, on the other side of the coin, you look at Alabama, you look at Bryce Young, a guy that got some playing time last year. And you're a guy that y'all had super high expectations, mostly your whole time at Auburn. If you're a guy like Bryce Young taking over for Mac Jones and that Alabama offense that was historic last year, how much is that in your mind? And look, I know he's super talented. Do you feel like, sometimes guys kind of try and do too much early, and you think that's something he may be fighting against? Because he's surrounded by talent. We know that.
Right. Well, I think for him, he's in a great situation. His situation is totally different than a lot of guys. Some guys come in a situation where everybody around him is young, but he's coming to, where Saban's been the coach there for so many years. And, he always, even though they changed coordinators, he's always putting coordinators with experience that can help these quarterbacks be in great positions. And he always can lean on his defense as well. So he's coming in because he's the guy that don't have to make every play. And I think that will get young guys in trouble, is feeling like they have to make every play. Where you see, like, when you watch Alabama quarterbacks over the years, what's helped them is the way that they run their offense. Everybody touches the football. And when everybody touches the football, you can't just key on one or two people. You can't just key on the quarterback, and because they've always had a great run game as well to predicate off that passing game. That's how come you're able to see Water get open, Devontae Smith get wide open and stuff, because those guys hit you from so many different angles. And I think for this quarterback coming in, it doesn't matter that he's young. It's just a simple fact that what he has around him, all he got to do is just find a way to start to get comfortable. And I think if you're going to affect him, you have to make him uncomfortable early in the games, because the more the game goes on, the more he learns, the more he becomes comfortable, the more dangerous he's going to become.
Yeah, and as a guy, Jason, that played in the NFL, you're obviously familiar with Bill O'Brien, what he did at the Texans. Offensively, with him being the OC over there, you look at Doug Marrone being the offensive line coach. What kind of offense do you expect from Alabama compared to kind of last year? Do you expect it to be true 100% pro style? I know he kind of did a few different things, but kind of what does Bill O'Brien do offensively in your opinion? Do well.
He was smart. He would pull a lot of things from Steve Sarkisian offense last year and the year before, because because what these guys do from a schematic standpoint, man, like I said, they'll attack you at every level of football. And that's what a lot of teams, that's what separates the great teams at this level and what separates the teams that's kind of just average. And, Bill O'Brien, when he was in Houston, sometimes he was criticized for maybe sometimes, throwing the ball way too much. But I don't see that happening at Alabama. I can see him, everyone knows they're gonna run the football there, and Saban loves to run the football, so they'll keep a good balance and everything. But the one thing he had an athletic quarterback in Deshaun, and with this kid Young that he has, I'm pretty sure you'll still feel a lot of you'll see more quarterback run oriented than you've seen with Steve Sarkisian. Let's face it, Matt Jones wasn't going to star you with his eyes or run.
Yeah, zone read, baby, all day.
Right. Exactly. But you can expect this kid Young for them to kind of put him in a little bit more zone reads, a little bit, mix him around a little bit. And that's good to do with a young quarterback because it takes pressure off of him in other areas that he may be feeling it.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. And speaking of spot on, if you're looking for a company that can help you with sleep, help you with joint pain, head over to SundayScaries.com. Use the Jboy promo code. That's JBOY. You save 25% off your first order. I take 2 of the strips or the gummies before I go to sleep, and it's really helped me be able to sleep through the night. No more tossing and turning. That's SundayScaries.com, and use the Jboy promo code. That's JBOY to save 25% off. And if you don't like it, you get your money back 100%. That's guaranteed, but you're going to like it. So I promise you're not going to have to use that. But back here with Jason Campbell and Jason, fascinating stuff. And we've been talking about the quarterback position. We've been talking about, transitioning to a new offense and understanding the style of the coach. But I think we may, and I know this may shock a lot of people out there, Auburn may throw to the tight end this year a little bit. And you look, JJ Pegues just moved from the offensive side of the ball to the defensive line. And as a guy, man, I remember you, Jason, use the tight end as a security blanket. And I look at it, and to me, it's not just about the tight end. It's you want to know how to make Bo Nix a better quarterback? Throw the check down some. There's nothing wrong with throwing the check down. Instead of being in second 10, be in second 6. And with guys like Tank and some of the bodies they have, tackling those guys in space is tough. So just talk about the tight end coming back. We saw recruiting director Darren Usher with a tweet the other day saying that the tight end is going to be a huge part of this attacking offense. I almost wrecked my car when I saw that.
Yeah.
But Jason, can you talk about the tight end and throwing the check down and just how efficient it is? You don't gotta. It's the old bull, young bull, man. You can walk down there.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, man. Like, I almost had a nice little cocktail and a glass of wine when I heard the tight end was getting back into the effect of being in Auburn's offense, man. It's been so inept over the last couple of years, and I've been saying for years that we just designed to throw the ball to the tight end more than we do. If it's 5 times a game, you open up your offense so much more because, like we talked about before, you suck those linebackers up. You make them have to pay attention to the tight end, where in the past couple of years, they just been ignoring the tight end because they know we don't throw to them. Yes. And, we get the ball to JJ out in the flats and, no corner or nothing want to hit him. But, we have some guys that can go over the middle, big, tall guys that can catch the ball. So, that adds another dimension for the quarterback. If you look at any NFL offense, any college offense that's great, the tight end is a pivotal part of the offense. And I don't understand how come Auburn didn't see that over the last few years, how important the tight end position. It's not just a blocking position. Yeah. These guys now are considered to be the 5th receiver and sometimes the number 2 receiver behind your number 1 receiver within some of these offenses. And that's why you see Kelsey's and the Gronks and, the Pitts kid is coming out of Florida this year, change of how you look at tight ends. Like, come on, man. Like, we got some really good ones. Like, let's get them involved in the passing game and let's help. That takes a lot of pressure off your quarterback because it gives them a security blanket. Your best security blanket is your tight end because he's the closest to you when things break down or when a blitz come at you. You can get the ball out of your hands and deliver it to him. And because it's that communication in a short amount of space.
Yeah, and typically the tight end is the matchup problem, especially at a school in the SEC. I mean, you go get you a big guy that you don't have to make the perfect pass. You can just put it on him and let him big boy somebody. Right. And it's going to be, you talk about it. You said the defenses have been ignoring it, and why would you not ignore it? And then you see Brendan Fraser flexed out wide, running a fade route at the goal line. As the only pass, and you can only run the slip off split zone with Pegues so many times. You can only work so many times. And I'm sure the nickels, whenever Pegues was on the other side of the hip, especially in the red zone, we're just like, oh no, the dude's like, I know it's coming. I'm gonna have to tackle this big guy. But Jason, before I let you go here, man, and this has been fantastic stuff. Auburn hadn't had a ton of competition at the quarterback position the past couple of years. And it's tough to just bring in a bunch of guys at quarterback and start a competition out of nowhere. But do you think this year is almost like a fresh start with Bo Nix, even though there's not a ton of competition behind him when you look at it? And how important is having competition, not only in the quarterback room, but in every room?
Oh, man, competition brings out the best in everybody. I always say that, if you're afraid of competition, then you're playing the wrong position. You're playing the wrong sport. Like, this kid, Demetrius, man, is coming out of Houston. Like, everyone knows how big high school football is in Texas. Like, it's mega. Some of the stadiums are bigger than some of these, college stadiums. So these guys are used to playing, in big environments. So, I think this kid, and he's very athletic and he can throw. And it definitely adds a dimension when Bo sees him in practice. They're like, oh man, let me step my game up a little bit more. And competition only gonna make something better, but you can't approach it as, I always say like this, like every year you're updating your resume. And you can't go off what you did the year before or the year before. Like, you have to continue to keep striving to get better. And I just feel like for Bo, this is a pivotal year for him, but at the same time, getting a little bit of push from Demetrius can help him and everything. And like I said, to me, I'm always say, hey, it's an open book. Like, you give it an open book, you let guys compete and everything, and the best guy wins. And I think the reason is because the cream always rises to the top. So these guys they'll compete on the field, but in the meeting rooms, they're gonna support one another. Why? Because they're teammates. But you create that atmosphere from the beginning. So when players around you see that they're creating a competition environment at the most important position in the sport, then what you think the DB is going to do, what you think the corner is going to do, the lineman going to do, everyone going to say, well, shoot, they compete at the quarterback position. We got to step our game up because I got to deal with what's name over here. I got to compete with Hall over here. I'm competing on the D line, just different guys. It just goes from guy to guy, man. It becomes like a sponge where the competition rails up. And you all say you're in practice in spring, and it's practice that people can't see, and there's some hitting going on. It's some people lighting some fire into some people because you get excited. You know what I'm saying? And then that brings out the fire in the quarterbacks. You see them competing against each other and making each other better, and that makes the whole team better. So I always say, man, don't be afraid of competition. If you're the guy to be for the job, then it shouldn't faze you because you have ultimate confidence that you're going to win it anyways. But I always say accept competition, man. Like, use it in a positive way.
Yeah, no doubt. Jason, man, I really appreciate you joining us, big dog. I know you're busy, got a lot of stuff going on. Can you tell everybody where they can follow you on social media? You're a great follow. Where they can find the podcast. You guys do a great job there as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at jcampbell17, and then on Twitter, it's jcam_17, and then also me and Taylor Davis, we do a podcast together called Believe in Everything Auburn. You can find us at believe.com, or you can also go on Apple and find us. But also, you just follow me on IG. I put it out every time we put a show out. I put it out, put the links on there. You can go in and check us out. And we'll be coming to you again next week after A-Day. I got to go cover A-Day this weekend.
Hey, man, well, I know you're going to do a great job. I appreciate you, Jason. Excited to get you back. I know we'll get you back as we get closer to the fall, man. Stay safe out there.
All right, appreciate it, Jay. Y'all take it easy, man.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us as well. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, head to thejboyshow.com. Get some of that merch. You could donate, PayPal, or Venmo. It's been another edition of The Jboy Show. The former Auburn standout, NFL standout quarterback, Jason Campbell. You can find him on the Auburn Sports Radio, now doing a great job. And Jboy's going. Gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with The Jboy Show.